Thank you, Mary, for the nice introduction. Thanks everyone for attending this webinar. My presentation is about how and when AI going to augment employee creativity. My name is Xueming Luo from Temple, where I have a Global Institute for AI and Business Analytics Center. This work is joint work with Nan, Zhen, and Chen. Now, at this moment, probably every one of us will not be surprised that AI, like algorithms and robots, can boost employees' efficiency. By efficiency, we mean that because AI can find the big data, hidden patterns, and they can retrieve the right answers to the work more efficiently. So efficiency definitely is higher. Now, we're going to ask a different question, which is, can AI increase employees' creativity? So by creativity here, we mean going to have a new and useful solution to customer problems. This would be an interesting angle because the prior research or prior topic has been focused on how AI is going to replace human workers. So here we're going to say how AI augments human intelligence. If the AI's assistance can help employee increase their creativity, find a new and useful solution, that would be good news for a workforce and for companies. So how we go test or answer this research question, we conduct a field experiment at the setting is a large high-tech marketing company. Basically, they have a huge call center. They serve over 10 million customers. So you can imagine customer service calls and outbound sales calls. What's the AI technology here? So we're all really interested in Gen AI technology. You can think about this as an AI chatbot, where it's a combination of ChatGPT, which generate languages, and plus voice technology. So you have a text-to-speech, speech-to-text technology combined with the GPT. Now, the training data for this AI chatbot is more than 10 terabytes of call center data. So they have the correct answers, positive samples, negative samples, in terms of how to serve the customers in the right way. The algorithms are basically deep learning neural networks plus reinforced learning. This technology has passed the Turing test for a short conversation with the customer, like in less than 2 or 3 minutes for those settings. So in the experiment, what we did is we randomized over 3,100 customers into different experiment conditions. Now, because this AI chatbot technology has passed the Turing test, so they can serve customers in the call center. So the company can send either AI technology or humans to serve customers. So the setting here is about an outbound sales call. Company want to reach out to the customers to purchase a new credit card. So the AI technology were introduced the previous slide, and then we have could be have top agents bot human agents. So they can do 2 tasks. The first task is about the lead generation. So basically call customer Mary. Are you interested in this product? I'm going to give you discount and coupons or other promotion deals. So we call this sales leads generation. The goal is trying to confirm customer interest. So this is highly script, repetitive task where AI can learn a pattern. So AI can handle this work or human can do it too. In the second stage is about sales persuasion. So after confirm customers' needs, these customers will want to convert their interest into purchase. So from sales needs to purchasers. This kind of persuasion task is more, most of them are on script, where could it be outside the knowledge bank. AI has not been learned, so we need human agents to convert customers' interest into purchase. So you have 4 combinations, the experiment condition. So the key task is about the creativity. That's going to be our dependent variable, outcome variable, how we measure that. So we define that as a novel and useful solutions to customer problems. So we're going to use voice recognition and text mining techniques to determine whether the customer's question in the sales call is outside knowledge bank. So if it's within knowledge bank, and that's not going to be part of the creativity answers from the employee. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the outside the knowledge bank question from customers. Those would be untrained, no scripts. So for example, in our setting, customers can ask, can I use the new product, which is credit card, for the down payment of buying a house? So that's going to be a typical question from customers. We call it cross-domain. So that we're going to need useful and novel answers from the employees. So we're going to determine this creativity measurement is going to be determined by experienced managers. Its final measure is a ratio of untrained question that was successfully answered by the employee to the questions asked by customers. So that must be novel and useful to qualify as a creativity outcome. So the results on my left bar is an agent by themselves, so without AI assistant help. You can see with the AI assistance, there are 2.3 times increase in the creativity of human workers. Then we look at the heterogeneity. We find that we have 4 bars. On the right is the bottom agents with less skilled employees. They have a little bit increase in their creativity as well, but a larger increase comes from the top agents. Then what's the mechanism why the AI systems have such asymmetric benefits for the top agents? So we conduct in-depth interviews with the employees in the experiment. We find that when the AI handles boring, repetitive jobs, that's basically outbound sales call to customer Mary to ask her interest, do you like this product, do you take this deal? So this is really repetitive task. If you get rid of that, then the AI handles that. The employees can have more free time and a stronger interest and motivation. They feel much better mood, better morale, even the pride is higher. And have more energy, obviously, right? Because they have more mental power now to think about creative solutions to customer problems. This benefit is going to be more for top employees because they have more skills to think about creative solution. After they have more free time, mental power, they can do so even more. Relative to lower skilled agents, some of the interview turns out the lower skilled agents, they feel higher work pressure and even lower morale because they feel like technology, AI is so powerful, so advanced now, and they feel threatened of the job security as well. It's not surprising, like if you look at the creativity and the performance of the employees, of course, there's a positive correlation, right? Higher creativity, higher performance. So the AI assistants can really turn into double benefits, like employees' creativity is higher and org performance will be lifted up as well. Now, in conclusion, we think this research is exciting in the context that prior topic is really, we think about AI replace human, we feel threatened. The AI human augmented intelligence is on the rise. But the key is we're going to do the job design differently. Let the AI handle the script, repetitive task, and then the humans going to do those creative work. So humans, we do not like repetitive, boring works. They suck about energy and the mental time. Especially top employees, they would like to have more, work freedom so that they can create new and useful solutions for old problems. Now, managerial implications, we think this AI going to alter job roles. Basically, employees think about what's the future, what's the roles they play in handling customer service problem, for example. And the company should design AI human teams to capture this value from this complementarity between AI and the human skills. The one caveat is companies should be mindful of what kind of employee to pair with AI. So we find that when AI paired with top agents, their creativity is much, much higher, and both the company's performance and the workers' welfare, the creativity will be much higher. So that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Xueming. I'll save some questions for later, but just as a quick takeaway, I think that what is so really very important from your research is this fact that the AI can really improve the work freedom that you said. I like that term that you use for humans, and that you really present a best practice, which is for companies to start with these AI human teams with their top agents first. Like, don't implement it across all employees, but really with those top agents, because they have the most to gain from it, but also the organization has the most to learn from it. Because you did point out how the lower skilled workers have so much anxiety, this could create more anxiety. And so hopefully maybe these top teams could really help with, as they upskill some of these lower employees, or not lower, but lower skilled employees, or not as talented employees, or they just haven't been on the job as much. It shouldn't be a derogatory term. We maybe have to think of a different term for that. But what do you agree with that kind of assumption, that that's almost a best practice to start with these high skilled workers?
Yeah, so I think one of the key takeaway in terms of this context is the heterogeneity between the top and the bottom workers, right? So companies always need to hire rookies, right? That's for for the employee retention, new workforce. Those are natural process. So company always have lower skill workers, and hopefully they can learn more and learn faster at the job. So the AI coach can do this kind of job as well. As you're saying, the key task is upskill or retraining for different purpose. And another takeaway, I think, related to that would be the company should be clearly communicating what's the intended use of AI, right? So lower skills always feel threatened. They feel like a company is rolling out technology and they're going to lay them off, right? But in this context, the company should also communicate that we can use the technology to help you, to give you job recommendations to how to serve the customer better in this context. And then in that, the employees can feel like, oh, okay, the companies are trying to help me out rather than really like lay me off and for the long term, right? So they see the intended use of the AI is trying to save their time and energy, and then after retraining, upskill, and then they're going to feel the company is taking care of them. So that's part of that managerial takeaway.
The messaging, what I'm really taking away too is the messaging of how they use this with their employees. And just I can't wait to talk more about this, but what we're going to do now is we're going to turn it over to Emma Wiles. And Emma, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Emma Wiles. I'm going to be talking today about the role of AI in hiring and in the sort of the hiring process and matching. And specifically about the informational role of the job resume. So in recent years, more and more of sort of job search and hiring is happening online. Between job boards like Monster and Indeed and online labor markets like Fiverr and Upwork, these sorts of online marketplaces mediating these transactions are getting a tremendous amount of data on job seekers and employers. And so platforms have been using machine learning tools to improve and increase the quantity and quality of matches between employers and workers. And a lot of research has focused on how platforms can use this data to decrease search frictions, usually with features like recommendation systems. But platforms are not the only ones who can use AI tools. So job seekers and employers can use new language models to spruce up or even entirely write application materials. And how the matching process changes when users use algorithmic approaches to better present themselves to the market is a sort of more recent phenomenon and kind of understudied question. And so today I'm going to share results from an experiment where we randomly assign new job seekers to an online labor market to have their resumes spruced up by AI. So when we think about the implications of someone using AI on their application materials, it's most important if employers actually care about writing quality. And so the first thing I want to show is that they do. If you look at about 200,000 resumes on an online labor market prior to the experiment we ran and count the writing errors in each resume, you can see job seekers with higher error rates are much less likely to be hired. And so, okay, if maybe we think that writing quality and hiring are correlated, we don't know why that would be. We don't know if it's just correlation or if there's a causal reason this is happening. And so if we think through sort of what a non-causal story would be for why there's this correlation, you could imagine that maybe employers don't actually care about the writing on application materials or on resumes, but better workers happen to be better writers. And so we're just picking up in the data that the better writers are more likely to be hired because those are just the better workers. But it's also possible that this relationship is causal and that employers would rather hire workers who are better writers. And so there's a couple different reasons this could be happening. And we're going to try and disentangle that in this paper. So the first one, what we call the signaling view, is that writing ability is a signal of diligence or attention to detail or something about the underlying worker's quality or type. And another view that we propose and end up showing evidence for is called what we're calling the clarity view, which is that good writing has no relationship with the worker's underlying quality, but a well-written resume basically helps employers to understand what it is the job seeker is proposing or what their skills are or how good a fit they are. And so it allows them to be in the consideration set at all. And so, the sort of two big research questions are, can algorithmically enhanced writing improve hiring outcomes for job seekers? And if so, how useful is writing quality as a signal of worker ability? And luckily, these questions are testable. And so we're going to investigate them in the setting of a large online labor market. This is a sort of an online labor market that looks very similar to offline labor markets in many ways. But all the work is done online. And crucially, both the employers and the workers rate each other at the end of every job. And so if we want to then test these hypotheses, what we can do is on this online labor market is we randomize writing quality. And the way we do that is for new entrants to the market, new job seekers who are signing up, who are writing their resumes, we provide them with a piece of software that is a language model. This is prior to generative AI. This is, in early 2021. So it's not generative, it's not prompted, but it's an AI tool that improves your writing without, writing you an entire resume for you. So we provide the treatment group in this experiment, this tool to help with write their resume, and the control group we don't. And then we can observe whether or not the treated group is more likely to be hired, see if the better writers, despite being no better workers, get hired, to find out if employers actually care about writing quality. And then what we're going to do to disentangle the signaling view and the clarity view is to look at measures of employer satisfaction. So the reason we're doing this is that if workers with better writing are more likely to be hired despite being no better workers, the signaling view would predict that employers are going to be disappointed with the quality of work that they do. Because in essence, they've been tricked into hiring worse workers. So that we can see are employers disappointed. If the clarity view is true, the treatment then simply allows workers to more clearly describe their skills, background, and fit. And so we're going to look at a bunch of measures of employer satisfaction to sort of try to untangle these two views. The measures of employer satisfaction we look at are like whether or not they're the treated workers are rehired, how many hours they work, as well as, all the sorts of ratings they get. And then we do some, natural language processing and sentiment analysis on the written text of the reviews they get as well. And so what we find is that treated workers are 8% more likely to be hired. So employers do care about writing quality. And we also find a bunch of evidence for the clarity view. So we find more productive workers are the ones that get hired, and that treated workers' employers are no less satisfied with the work that is done. And so this is evidence for the clarity view. This is like a very nice story about the use of AI on an online labor market. And so maybe what we should do is we should make it so that everyone uses some sort of AI tool when they write their resumes, and it will just, it'll increase the demand for labor. People will hire more. But crucially, these results are very likely to attenuate if you roll this out platform-wide. So what I'm doing here is I look at the effect of the treatment by the sort of amount that a worker is in competition with workers in the treatment group. So on the left side of the graph, we have people who basically are applying for jobs where there's no one else in the treatment group applying for them. So they're the only one with this kind of benefit of a slightly better written resume. And on the right, it's ones who compete with a lot of workers in the treatment group. So maybe half of the people in there who have applied for the job that they apply for, half of them also have the treatment. And what we find is that the treatment effect is really isolated down. If you have to have kind of very little competition from other people with this as well for the treatment effect to be significant. And so this suggests that, it is probably not the case that if a platform or a labor market gives everyone AI on their resumes, that you're going to get way more hires than you would have otherwise, which is kind of intuitive. That being said, because it causes the workers that hired to be more productive, there are still benefits of doing it, but it's going to increase kind of the quality of the matches as opposed to the quantity of them overall. And so I think this is important because writing is used to evaluate ability in like every aspect of life, work, school, essays, writing samples, cover letters. And as AI enhanced or generated writing materials become more common, writing is likely to become an even less reliable signal of ability. And as it becomes more common, the benefits of using them are going to decrease. And so for platforms, this is important to know how the use of these tools impacts the informational value of the content on their sites. And platforms need to know if providing users access to AI is going to really increase their engagement, and if these effects are going to hold as they become ubiquitous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emma. Fascinating to know. Something that we've always relied on is our written word.
Yeah.
How much the large language models have affected that, and how that's been a benefit to employees or job seekers, I should say, because they're not employees yet.
Not yet, yeah.
But they feel like they might have an upper hand, because for a while there, there was algorithms seeking them to not be able to apply because they just couldn't they just couldn't get to those right words that are necessary to get through the algorithms. Now they feel like there's a level playing field, but now those employers are going to really need to determine are we getting the skill sets that we really want, and we can't weight as heavily that screening tool that we had.
Right. And so I think in this setting, it allows people who were sort of very high quality workers, but maybe their English wasn't as good, or for whatever reason, they're not very good writers, and they can't kind of show that they're good workers. And so those people were kind of getting ignored. And if you use these kinds of tools to just like help improve their writing a little bit, it can make their skills more obvious. I see a question. Types of screening tools and writing tools. So this is like the algorithmic writing assistance that I'm talking about here. It's something that you put in a paragraph of text, and then it underlines a phrase, and it says like replace this phrase with something better, and it suggests the exact phrase you should replace it with. It will both point out errors, and it suggest kind of better phrasing, or it'll say this isn't very clear, or this is repetitive, that kind of thing. And so you're just getting these kind of highlighted, underlined things, and then you get these suggestions that you can replace it with. So it's not like you put your resume into ChatGPT, or it's not like you say, ChatGPT, write me a resume. And I think that the results are likely to be very different if the tool was ChatGPT. Here it is very clear that, like, this tool is taking text you have already written that is going to have some amount of your voice in it. There's going to potentially be some informational value in it, and it's just kind of tweaking. It's just tweaking, and it's making you sort of look better on the margin, and it's making you look good enough that people are more likely to hire you. But it's not like if you were to just say, ChatGPT, write me a resume, and then as an employer, you're looking at this resume and you're like, I get nothing from this resume. It just says a list of bullet points that says, oh, you have good communication skills, work well in teams, attention to detail. You see all those things and you're like, I'm not getting any information out of it. So I think these results are very likely to be different if you use generative AI. And I have future work that has shown that the results are very different if you use generative AI.
Part two.
Part two for the next, for the Wharton conference in the spring.
All right, we'll go over to Cedric for his topic on generative AI and in the online labor market. Cedric, you're on.
Thank you. Let me share the screen. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Cedric. I'm a third-year PhD at the UW. So I'm glad to share my work briefly and have the opportunity to learn from everyone on this topic. This is a joint work with Jing, Professor Li, and Professor Tan. So, okay, we all know that labor exchange is a pivotal component of our society. So individuals on the supply side contribute their time, energy, and their services for which they will receive some salaries and acknowledgement. So on the other hand, entities on the labor demand side can consume the products or services directly, or they can circulate them on the market afterward. So nowadays, the gig economy is becoming a big player in this labor economy. So this trend was also strengthened during and after the pandemic. Now people are gradually getting used to fulfilling their labor demands by finding someone online. And people are also gradually adapting to the work from home or work from anywhere environment. So anyone who has some flexible time can contribute to the gig economy. But things are changing, especially after the generative AI. So as you can see, in November 2022, ChatGPT is launched, and it can be regarded as one of the first generation of AGI. So by AGI, I mean that it has good performance on some complicated tasks. So we can do coding and proofreading with it. And maybe it is not better than all the human experts, but it's kind of comparable to some humans. And secondly, it is general purpose, meaning that previous technologies, even at a superhuman level, such as AlphaFold or AlphaZero, they are tailored to specific tasks. But for ChatGPT and other technologies, they are like a general purpose. They can be done. They can be used to do many tasks, maybe even beyond the designer's expectations. So this kind of bring more complexity and opportunities into this field. The third thing is that it's easily accessible to everyone. So basically, if I don't have any prior knowledge on programming, I can still use it to finish my tasks. So all of these attributes for generative AI kind of bring more challenges and opportunities to the online labor markets and the labor market at large. So in fact, there is some existing evidence, some suggestive evidence about how labor markets are affected. For example, AI is basically killing Check and other online tutoring platforms. We can see the stock price has gone all the way down. And we can also see that freelancer.com is gaining much less attention over time. So in the past, maybe it's fluctuating around some level, maybe 25 in the Google trends, but now it's much lower. So there is a clear maybe substitution happening out there, but we don't know how exactly it works. Therefore, we conducted this research, and we are mainly focusing on how ChatGPT is affecting both the labor demand and the supply in the gig economy platforms. And we are also show some suggestive evidence about how workers are adapting to this trend. So first thing I want to summarize is that some market level impact. So basically, we actually have two data sets. The first data set is more client-centric. So the clients can post their demands on the labor market, and then the freelancers will bid for them. Afterward, the clients will select one freelancer or just select nobody to fulfill their demand, and the match is formed so people can exchange their service and the salary. And for this market, we kind of show all of these results. The first thing is on the demand side. Basically, we show that a clear a substitution effect on the text and the programming jobs. So there are fewer clients who post fewer jobs on the market. And the remaining jobs seem to be more complicated because they require higher budgets. As for the labor supply side, of course, we may suspect that generative AI enable more people to accomplish some tasks. But as we can see, the labor supply is also shrinking. So fewer people are bidding on jobs on the market. As a result, actually the competition is actually intensified because the average bids for each project is actually increasing. So this is like the market level impact for generative AI. It's like an overall market shrinking process, but we also show some exciting points for freelancers. So for the second data set, it is more freelancer centric. So for that platform, freelancers are actually posting their services available for other people, and the clients can go to the market and ask the freelancers to fulfill their demand, and like a transaction happen. So for this platform, we kind of identify several freelancers who are embracing AI. So they are creating jobs related to ChatGPT, and we can see they are benefiting more from this process. So they get more transactions over time compared with other people. So there's a clear opportunity as well. To sum up, we can see although the market for existing job is shrinking and the freelancers have to adapt to this trend quickly and provide some complement services, we can see clear opportunities. And maybe our more suggestion is that for the gig economy platform and for the policymakers, we have to provide some related resources for them so that they can kind of adapt to this trend, and everyone can be much happier over time. So yeah, this is the main points I want to share today. So
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. 3 very, very interesting talks here. Before I kind of open it up to all 3 of you, Cedric, I want to give one specifically to you. And when we talk about the freelance market, I think it would be good for everyone on the webinar to understand potentially, can you speak more specifically to a freelancer that would be using ChatGPT? I mean, the one that comes to mind for me would be a writer that would use it more effectively. But I was just wondering, maybe you could just elaborate on that, maybe in one area of freelancing that would adapt ChatGPT more readily.
Yeah, like for adopting ChatGPT, I think we have to be more cautious about what kind of jobs we are doing in the future. So for example, we want to do some jobs that are not easily substituted by AI, or some jobs that can complement AI. So this is a challenge, there are challenges and opportunities for freelancers. So first of all, some existing demand are replacing by AI. So we are not just competing with other freelancers, we're also competing with AI. And secondly, but other people can use AI. So we are also competing with maybe human plus AI. But for the second point, we also have some opportunities because we can use it on our own. Maybe Xueming's talk is a good starting point. We can use it creatively, and we can use it to augment our skills. For example, for proofreading, maybe in the future, we don't want to just do proofreading because it can be done by AI easily, but we can be more creative, writing some like poems or etc. So it's like involves human elements. Yeah.
Okay. And then I noticed in the chat, someone mentioned like front end developers, they're ones that use AI much more effectively. The front end developers can be that much more valuable in the gig economy that really see how they can use that AI. And I'm going to ask everyone on the webinar to put all of your questions, not in the chat, but at the bottom of the screen, you should see something that says Q&A. If you could put all of your questions in there, that's where we'll be, we have that open and we'll be looking at that. And you can also vote on those questions as well. So so thank you, everyone. I'm going to start out with some questions for each of our guests, and then we're going to go into our Q&A questions. And first, I'd like to start with Xueming. If AI can boost production efficiency and creativity in the workplace, as you demonstrated, how will the expectations of employees change in terms of the metrics that they are measured on? And and then essentially, how are employers going to message to those employees that they're going to be evaluated on higher productivity outcomes without creating this anxiety? Because that's where I really see this all moving towards, is there's this expectation of efficiency and creativity, and there's going to be new metrics, and how are we not going to create that type of anxiety, and how are they going to pivot to that?
Yeah, so that's a very pertinent question and a very germane question and important at a workplace for the future work, Mary. So I think the exciting part and the dangerous part coexist, right? So the dangerous part, we already heard a lot of these stories. Can AI displace humans, workers? I think I want to be on the exciting part. The story we want to tell in this paper is really from mundane to creative, right? So the boring, repetitive part of work, let the AI handle it. They're good at it. They can make less error compared to human because it's repetitive. They know the answers. They just retrieve the answers from knowledge bank, right? So I think the job design, the expectation for employees should be changed by managers or CEOs when we design this work or job roles. So if it's simple, repetitive questions that just, for example, in our setting, is confirm, the customer, Mary or Emma, are you interested in this product or not, right? Those stuff, you don't need really a high talent people, a worker to do that 1,000 times, right? Because like 90% of the people cold call, they're not going to buy you anything from you, right? And as a cold call, I'm not in the market. So let the AI to do those boring, repetitive, time-consuming work. So the expectation could be set up differently. So the job design could be differently, workflow differently at the company. And then the managers should be communicating this to different type of workers, right? You hold the top talents for creative solutions department, the higher skills, and last mile delivery, right? So this will be for hiring is the same thing. So for the hiring, you need the HR manager, the senior HR manager to deal with the most tough, difficult to hire, right? And then there's lower task, then you can use the AI to screening these job applicants because the AI can know, you just give them the threshold, some certain rules, heuristics, they can stick to the heuristic, the rules, as long as fair, transparent for hiring, they can do much better than no bias to stick to those rules, right? Human decide those rules. Now, the really tricky part, the dangerous part is the lower skill ones because they are just hired, they're rookie, they need time to develop. And then that's where we can build this AI human team. Now in the future, in my vision, would it be this AI, once they learn the knowledge bank, they can help train these lower skill workers And that's another efficiency company can leverage, right? So because the company is, once you free the employee's time, then you can develop a new business, right? So you can start a new sector, new vertical, you can spin out for other business once you have these talents. So it in the long term would not be a sustainable strategy, just lay off all your employees, right? Because it depends on AI, or it comes to super AI. I think you still need some elements or the human capital in your company to serve for the right purpose. So it's different strategy for different type of employees in that education and framing and the support. I think that's the key. The exciting part, again, in summary, is just to be design your job role differently with the technology. That will leverage the AI human complementarity well for both for the employee side and for the organization side.
Yes, very, very, I mean, wow, there was a lot of information I think I'll take away from that. And one of the key points too that when you were speaking, I just was, I mean, I know everyone's like, oh, this is the, the new age, new dawn, it's like the age of the internet, and I know we can compare it to, I mean, different, it's like when the internet first came, but when you were describing it, I was also thinking that it's with our Industrial Revolution and Henry Ford and how he, figured out the assembly line, what you just stated is this is like the assembly line of knowledge tasks, and that these more boring tasks, that's what a company really needs to look at in terms, everyone's looking for use cases, like how do I use AI? And in essence, you have given them a formula and say, look at your most boring tasks. This is where AI can enrich your company from a productivity standpoint, but also in an employee retention standpoint, and how to make the investments you make in your employees that much better, not only from a pay standpoint, but also from their own productivity. So I really appreciate how everything you shared with us can relate to all that. And we have a couple other questions that I want to share with Emma and Cedric as well. And there's one that specifically for Cedric that we talked about early on, and that is, we're at this pivot point of LLMs in the gig economy, and the fact that gig economy didn't even exist a couple of years ago, and here it is, and now we have another disruption to that potential workforce. So could you explore or let us know what the distinctive features are of possibly LLMs, specifically like generative AI, and how does that contrast to like previous technologies and its impact on the workforce, compared to like tools that used to happen, like Google Translate was huge when that first came out. So maybe you could explain this disruption of an LLM within like that gig economy, and what people should really look towards doing in that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I also noticed a question in the chat about how we should exactly develop in the age of AI. So the first thing I want to mention is that it's general purpose, and there are some emergence ability of AI. So basically, designers cannot expect what the people can use it to do. So we can be more creative about what we can do in the future. This is kind of very different from Google Translation. And the second thing is that it's easy to use. So in the past, we have BERT and other very strong models, but it kind of requires some prior knowledge to use them. And now with ChatGPT, everyone can do at least some coding. So I think that's another difference. As for freelancers, I think we can, or maybe ordinary workers, I think we can categorize the jobs to several categories. The first thing is that it's entirely replaced by AI, so it doesn't exist anymore. The second part is that it's complemented by AI. So it lowers the bar for an ordinary person to join the labor supply side. And the third kind is that the jobs cannot be done by human only or AI only. So I suggest like people can adopt a second and a third trend. And another thing I want to mention is that because technologies are evolving, and this is a time for human co-evolve with AI. So I think mindset is more important than specific skills. So instead of building some skills and expect that it won't be replaced anymore in the future, and I think it's more important to have a lifetime learner attitude. So maybe when new technologies come, I can adapt to that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That was very complete too. Emma, what, so we have had both these different perspectives here and how things are, we know AI is a disruptor. And, we've talked about employees, how they can, where they're going to be, upskilling and how employers have to work with that. And, in different economies, how AI is either going to, bring in a new economy, maybe a new economy or labor market. But for what you were speaking to, how it, as the individual, is applying for the jobs, because still we have to apply for a job, whether it's in a gig economy or more of a formal setting. So there's we're applying, and then we have employers deciding to hire us. So how is generative AI, ChatGPT, LLMs, how is that going to change that process of applying and then hiring in the biggest sense that you see, like 18 months out?
Yeah, I think that, when you think about the sort of screening process that employers normally do, they're taking a lot of written material, making judgments on it, and then like maybe you do interviews. My guess is that cover letters, which are already, I think, not taken extremely seriously, are going to could just fade, do a slow fade out, and that things like interviews are going to become a lot more important. And I think I think we already kind of can see that happening. Like cover letters used to be a very big deal, and people already will be like, I don't read the cover letter. So I think that is the easiest thing to have a generative AI do for you, is write you a cover letter. Like it can do that in, with one prompt. And so my guess is that as we're seeing that, more and more people are adopting these tools, employers are going to probably emphasize the interview step of the process. And, you could also imagine not just interviews, but like, especially in technical jobs, there already have steps of the interview process where you have to, do tasks. So that could become more important as well. Although like that can still be influenced by AI. Like I've seen examples of people doing Amazon interviews in some language they've never coded in, and then they, in real time are like Zooming with someone who's telling them to do something in code, and they're like looking it up on ChatGPT or, and doing it. So it's going to be very hard to completely, remove generative AI from the equation. And I don't think we need to completely remove it from the equation. We just need to sort of figure out what are the parts of the hiring process where you're getting the most information about applicants, like quality and fit for whatever job it is, and emphasize those.
Okay, great. I think in our chat here, we see people that are saying that cover letters are the best hack. Well, I didn't finish what they said, but they mentioned that I think they concurred with you. Here we are. Experiences of the cover letters are the best hack in today's job market. Gen AI does a neat job on the draft, but complete auto-generated cover letters are not good enough. Okay. I think one interesting question that's just more like zooming out a bit, for all of you, and any one of you can take this, is I thought this was from Dana, and she said, what are the regional differences we could potentially observe, meaning maybe continents or regions, maybe, that might occur based on how generative large language models are applied and accepted. I mean, I guess one is who's using them, but then also on the flip side, the employers or the government or just the society, what their acceptance is of that. So anyone want to, in the realm of the workforce, does anyone want to take that?
Yeah, I can take a quick about the education application, for example. Because of large online free programs or course teaching, right? If a specific topic like machine learning, AI knowledge, you can take some free course online. So those are a lot of things available now with this AI technology. Generally, they do pretty good on structured knowledge education. So what's the role of future professors, for example, for us, right? So for example, if you're advising PhD students, that's a different equation, right? Because that's not a mass education. So if there's a structure nice, we call it a knowledge bank, knowledge graph. As long as you have the knowledge graph set up, the AI can do those, then we call it repetitive task, then let the AI to do it. Then free our professors' time in doing those high creativity, more challenging part of work and advising PhD students and advise honors students to do some really meaningful pro-social, pro-environment, those kind of like emerging topics are very important. So I think that human capital development is really, really critical, and the AI can help us educators to do those basic, work, and then the higher level work, and then always you need a human expertise to do that. I think we mentioned the HR application is the same thing. And there's not a company nowadays, Fortune 500 companies, they use AI to screen job applicants. 80% of job applicants are not fitting that job. Basically, HR, they're not even, should not reach to the HR manager office at all, right? We know that. That's happened at P&G. You remember all these big companies, car companies, you can see those industry verticals. And another application is healthcare. We know that AI assistants can help doing nursing role, like as a nurse, and collect the vitals, get your past medical history. That's very accurate, and they can build that knowledge very fast. The time efficiency and the quality is very good. But we still need a doctor, a human doctor. So as the audience, one of the comments is, I see a lot of future opportunities in terms of HAI, human AI team. So just incrementally let the AI take this, like a food chain, right? The value chain, let's take this step by step, and then the human's time will feel more and more for higher order, more challenging tasks.
Very exciting, very exciting. We're gonna have to wrap it up because we're actually at time. So, but what a way to end that, I like that, there's the calmness of the step by step. I mean, there's a lot of disruption, but step by step, and there's always humans that are going to be involved in this and embracing on how we can use the AI for many repetitive tasks, but also to enhance our creativity with our jobs. There's going to be change out there, and it's exciting. So I, hope to see you all again soon. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Please tune in March 1st for our next AI Horizons webinar on innovation. We will be sending out this recording and references to the authors, the presenters' papers and their slides. But once again, thank you, Cedric, Emma, and Xueming for joining me today. Everyone have a great Friday. Thank you so very much.